Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 2020 SAIS virtual stage. I'm Evan Kuri, Group Editor of Entrepreneurship at Bizcommunity.com. Today, we're speaking to Idan Jaan, co-founder and CEO of Fundrr, who shares his startup story. I just would like to thank you and welcome for joining me, Idan. How are you?
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for having me. I look forward to this.
Great. Have you been listening to the opening address and to the other startup pitches?
Not so much. I tuned in for a little bit, but you know that the day gets quite hectic, so I didn't have the pleasure of listening to all of them. How have they been? They've been good.
They've been quite interesting. I actually really enjoyed the opening address this morning. And it was actually mentioned that it's quite important to tell the African innovation and entrepreneurship story. So I think that is what we're going to be talking about. Is we're going to want to hear what Fundrr's story is.
Sure.
Okay, so for those of the viewers and the listeners, could you maybe just tell us a little bit about what is Fundrr?
So Fundrr, we are a fintech startup. Our number one focus is providing working capital to SMEs who understand the frustrations and the inability for small businesses to access working capital. It's not just in South Africa, but it's a worldwide issue, but we are just focusing within South Africa. We really want to provide working capital the most frictionless and an instantaneous way to small businesses. Currently in South Africa, there's an 86 billion rand funding gap. That is for small businesses actually out there seeking finance from other alternative or formal institutions and just not being able to get it. So we see the problem, we see the demand. We believe internally at Fundrr that the only way that we can build and strengthen the South African GDP is by helping small businesses. And that is our core focus. So we provided a fintech platform where we provide financial assistance to small businesses ranging from 20,000 all the way to 1 million rand, 3 to 12 months in term. We also have a bespoke collection method that we build into our analyzation model, meaning we actually analyze the cash flows of the business, and that way we determine if we're going to be collecting on a daily, weekly, bi-monthly or monthly basis, all depending on their cash flow patterns.
Okay. And could you tell me, when did you guys start?
So this business was founded by myself and my partner, who was my best friend growing up. We were friends our whole lives. I just studied plain BCom. He's a chartered accountant. He's a CA. He then went to the States to work at Grant Thornton for 2 years in Manhattan, in New York. And we were speaking, and he told me it was around June, July 2017. He told me he wants to come back to South Africa and look at starting his own business. At the same time, I was kind of like looking at this funding, SME funding space within South Africa. So the timing was perfect for us. We started sharing business plans with one another, started tweaking, kind of building models around it, and put pen to paper. We both quit our jobs in November 2017 and focused full time on this. Our first approach was to raise funding. So we did all these fancy pitch decks and fancy models and projections. And we did a roadshow trying to raise some funding, and we actually, you know, looking back on it, we were just two young guys with an idea, nothing behind us. So no wonder we didn't get funding. You know, we got rejected over 60 times. It was heartbreaking at the time. Looking back on it, it was probably the best thing that ever happened to us because it forced us to kind of get to market as quickly as possible. You know, we bootstrapped the business. We were forced to bootstrap the business. We kind of told each other from the get-go that we're not going to be drawing a salary for the first 12 months. Every single cent that came into the business was going to go back into the business to strengthen our own balance sheet and carry on lending. And I mean, we had to perfect our credit model. Essentially, that was the core of the business. We had to identify what is the core of our business and how can we perfect this course so we can attract future investors.
All right. That sounds quite, quite a challenge. I mean, besides like getting the funding and getting investors, what are some of the other obstacles that you guys have had?
So a lot of rejection, a lot of self-doubt. The salary was probably the biggest challenge for me. It's just hard, you know, it really is hard. Starting a business is hard. You just have to be persistent. You need to have good support structures behind you in terms of family, partners, whatever it may be. And I think one of the most important things is just to get to market. The quicker you launch, the quicker you generate revenue, the quicker you can have a proof of concept. You know, I think what we were blinded with is that we were reading and looking online and basically living in the Silicon Valley world, you know, thinking and seeing how people raise millions and billions of rands and dollars off like a pre-revenue idea. And we thought the same would happen here. And unfortunately in South Africa, fortunately and unfortunately, I can't say that, but you know, the venture capital landscape is just not as not the same as it is overseas. So that kind of forced us to waste time, you know, in trying to get this perfect investor or funder behind us, and it just wasted our time. And I think that the most important thing for us to do was just to get started, you know, just to get a proof of concept. And I think by trying to raise all this capital, we actually wasted a few months, which prevented us to launch, because we were saying, no, let's wait until we have this perfect product. In order to have a perfect product, you need lots of capital behind you. So let's raise capital. And before we launch in the market, let's make sure we have this perfect working system that we thought we wanted, but in essence, we didn't need.
So that, it sounds like quite a journey that you guys have been on. And I think that one of the big pieces of advice that you're trying to put out there is to other entrepreneurs is to get your product out to market as soon as possible. I mean, what other sort of advice could you give to entrepreneurs starting out in the fintech industry?
So I think identifying the industry is very important. Very important. You know, fintech it's very broad. There's so many different pockets within fintech. It's very important to understand the environment, understand your competitors. What are the product offerings? You know, one of the advantages of being in Africa is we can look to the Western world and the Eastern world. We can look everywhere in the world and see what they're doing out there and kind of mimic and try to implement working proven models overseas and bring them home and kind of better our economy with a better product. So I think do a lot of research. And I think one of the most important things is understand the capital intensivity of your sector. I mean, one of the things we didn't expect and anticipate, perhaps because we were just two young guys with an idea, we were a little bit naive, is how capital intensive this business is. And I think if we knew it before actually going all in and starting this, perhaps we would have changed course, because you know, capital it's hard to get. You know, when you start with an idea, you're also very biased. You think your idea is going to change the world, and it might change the world, but you know, most times it's just going to be a good, successful business. And you always, like in our industry, you always need to raise capital, and it probably takes like 30 to 50% of our day trying to raise capital, and it's very time consuming and energy consuming. And like I said, it just leads to a lot of rejections.
Yeah. But I mean, you guys have been successful and you've made it. So, I mean, besides all those challenges that you've encountered over the years that you since starting, what was some of the highlights that you've had?
I think it's very rewarding. You know, our face is always too close to the paper, so we never actually get to appreciate and understand and reflect back on all of our achievements. But I think every time like a big like stepping stone happens, or for example, like a year end when we celebrate like work anniversary, like you actually get to reflect back and achieve and understand and appreciate how much you've achieved over this past period of time. And it's probably the most rewarding thing like I've ever done, you know, myself and my partner included. Like, it's actually amazing to see how we've, and that's why I said it was the best thing that we started with nothing, because now we can reflect back on it and say we actually literally started with nothing and we managed to get something. And really, it's the greatest feeling ever. And, you know, like one thing that we always had in our mind is, you know what, like if we fail, we fail. Both of us, like, luckily we have degrees behind us. We can probably go to the market and find a job. You know, it's really not the end of the world, but let's give it a try. You have to get thrown in the deep end and learn how to swim.
Definitely, definitely. I think that's one of the most important lessons that we can learn from successful entrepreneurs, is that not to give up. We can fail as many times as we want to. I mean, not that we want to fail, but I mean, it happens. But the thing is to keep going and just to push ourselves. So I want to take it back to Fundrr and the platform. So you're basically a lender to small businesses. What is the criteria that you guys, if somebody wants to apply for funding, what is the process and what criteria do they need to check?
So we're currently targeting the formal SME sector. So we need transactional data in order to underwrite. You know, we've developed our internal credit score. It's called the Fundrr score. We plug in more than 100 different data points in order to make a decision on the business. So we need at least like 12 months track record of the business in order to analyze, because essentially what we're doing is we underwriting and assessing past data in order to predict future data. So we do need a bit of track record. So we need 12 months for the business to be operational, and we do need a bit of revenue. So we're not looking at pre-revenue startups. We're looking at existing businesses. You know, our product is growth generative. It's working capital. We always say that our product is best used if used for growth purpose, meaning buy additional stock, increase facility, hire more people in order to generate future revenues. And yeah, I mean, we've created a really, we probably have one of the most frictionless onboarding processes in the market. You know, we started at the beginning with like a 12-page application form, and as we continue to trade, I mean, we cut it down to 4 pages, and we constantly cutting it down further and further, because we actually stress testing our model against previous data to actually see which information is critical for us to have and which information isn't critical for us to have. And the information that isn't critical for us to have, we just simply scrape it, because the last thing we want is a small business owner to spend a lot of time on our website and have difficulties in applying and actually take him away from his work, which is his bread and butter. So we want our onboarding to be as seamless and frictionless as possible.
And that whole process, what is the time frame with that until funds are maybe just distributed?
So we stick into 24 hours turnaround time. That's like the core of our business, because, you know, that's the only differential that we really can have with the banks, right? So we spoke about the frictionless onboarding, which the banks really don't have. We can't beat them on cost of capital. Their funding is way cheaper, and we can't beat them on customer acquisition because they're sitting with all the transactional clients. So how can we actually beat them? By a quick turnaround time and a frictionless onboarding process. So we have to ensure that we can provide funding in 24 hours from application to disbursement.
That's quite a quick turnaround time. So good job there.
Yeah.
I just also wanted to find out, to date, how many small businesses have you guys been able to assist?
Yeah. So, you know, it's obviously it's quite confidential, but it's hundreds of small businesses, and we plan to get to thousands very, very soon.
Yeah, that's good. I'm happy to hear that you are helping people start businesses. I mean, especially during COVID-19, this whole pandemic has just like disrupted everything. Do you maybe want to just elaborate that? Did it affect you guys at all?
So we took a big knock during COVID-19. What happened was, obviously the country went into lockdown level 5 in, I think it was the end of March, 26th, 27th of March. That means that 90% of our clients were not essential services, and 90% of our clients had their doors closed. We did not want to be that added pressure in times like these in a worldwide pandemic. We didn't want to be the guys knocking on a door at the end of the month and saying, where's our money, kind of thing. So we took a board decision to actually provide payment holidays without clients even reaching out to us. So we went across our whole book and provided all of our clients with a payment holiday until further notice. So the way we did it was a risk-based approach. And we said, we've basically analyzed our book into different sectors and risk based on sector. And we started to predict when different industries and different sectors will go back online. So we've started unlocking and collecting according to the operations of the certain businesses. So we took a big knock. I mean, 90% of our revenue was frozen. We didn't get any money. So it was a big thing for us. You know, we had to take personal salary cuts to facilitate this debit order pause, because we did want to provide our clients with debit order pauses just to give them a bit of like oxygen, as we like to say it. But yeah, we have recovered way quicker than we expected. So it just shows the resiliency of the economy, and it just shows how people are fighters. You know, they really don't give up that easy.
I do think that things are going to get better in the near future. I think resilience is the word that we've never used as much as we have used in 2020. So yeah. The other thing, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I also want to find out from you, where would you like to see Fundrr in the next few years?
So we have an internal goal of funding more than R1 billion in the first 5 years of operations. In June 2021 will be 3 years since we launched. So we basically kind of halfway through that, and we're well on track to do that. We want to help as many businesses as possible. We want to be the quickest and most affordable business funder in the market. We just want to help SMEs. What our goal is to, like I said, fund R1 billion in the first 5 years and carry on adding products and financial products that will help SMEs.
Okay, thank you. So if a small business wants to get hold of you, where do they go?
So they go on our website. So our website is www.fundrr.co.za. Fundrr is spelled with 2 R's at the end. So it's Fundrr.co.za. There's apply now buttons spread throughout our website. It's very easy to just click apply now. You just create a username and password, which takes really, really quick. We have you saved as a client on our platform. You get access into the portal. From the portal, we actually can provide you with a lot of business templates, a lot of HR stuff that you can use in your business. And in addition to that, you can apply for funding. You can track your application. You can view your monthly statements. You can top up your funding. We can inform you when your next debit order is. We'll inform you when you're eligible for a re-advance. It's really the most amazing platform that we've created for a small business owner to come on, and it's really worth trying. You know, it's free, it doesn't cost anything, and it's really quick.
That's fantastic to hear. I just want to say congratulations on making it through COVID-19, or where we are now. And I know things are going to get a lot better for all small businesses in South Africa. I want to just say thank you for your time, Idan. It's been amazing chatting to you, and all the best and good luck for the future.
Appreciate that. Thanks so much, Jay.
Thank you so much for your time.